Good evening. Caught me there, but I got on.
It snuck up on you.
Almost got me there. Welcome. We're excited that you're here with us tonight. This is Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, all about leaders acting, all about culture transformation. We've got some interesting statistics here tonight, and I think we've got some very interesting conversations tonight. We're going to be talking about why is leadership development, executive development so difficult when you do it in-house? And let's start out with this. And we'll go into some stories that we'll share, some anecdotes and so forth. You got a piece of surveys there, an article that you brought up that talks about leadership development now, post COVID, even though some of them want to keep the COVID going on for probably forever. But let's say, post COVID at this point. What is it that you're reading there? It's fascinating stuff.
This is good stuff, and it's done by PwC Global. Okay, and it's a very interesting survey. I want to back up a little bit because they did a survey here a couple of years ago that talked about what CEOs were looking for. Okay, what they were looking for, and they actually surveyed like 7,000 CEOs, global CEOs, and they asked them, what are you looking for? And inevitably, the number one thing they were looking for globally across the board was the soft skills, the leadership skills, the communication skills, the problem solving skills, empathy, those kind of things that are, quite frankly, the most
time management, planning,
time management, all those things that really are the soft skills that are difficult. And you know what the lowest on their goals were? The lowest things they were looking for were the STEM skills: science, technology, engineering, math. And you know why? Because there's not a shortage of that. It's everywhere. There are so many skilled people in the STEM skills out there that are qualified and trained. But it's the soft skills that we're looking for. They want to hire because they're the hardest ones to truly come by.
Yeah, John made the observation that our technology and our intellectual development and prowess has far outpaced our ability to really work with each other and create relationships. And
Yes.
Part of that certainly is leadership, that human quality.
Yeah.
That human quality is lagging terribly behind.
Yeah. Now, fast forward. Let's talk now. Okay. Here's one of the things that 93% of all these CEOs that were surveyed realize that there's serious talent management challenges lay ahead. And we talk about talent management challenges. Okay. Again, we're going to those soft skills, those skills that require true leadership development. But here's the kicker. When asked if they had done anything about this, 61% now, try and wrap your head around that, have yet to take the first step to develop that talent they need in-house. Although they realize there's serious talent management challenges they had, 61% have not taken that first step to develop those people in-house.
And so we could do this. That means 39% have.
Yeah.
Based upon other statistics that we know about, that ability of the 39% that are doing it in culture development, 75% of them will fail.
Yes.
And if they're looking at real leadership development, again, probably about between 50 and 2/3 of them will fail. Why is that? What's going on here? Why is that such a difficult thing to do? Let me ask you a question here. You were a super skier way back in the day, right? I mean, you were the hot dogger, you're going off the cliffs, you're doing all those hard things and on and on and on. Ended up in the hospital a lot of times, but that made for just the better stories to tell.
A few times, yep, I've been there.
Okay, so the point is, here's the point. You had that skill. Now, I don't know the answer to this. Could you teach somebody to do the things that you knew how to do on skis?
Yes.
How many people that were really good at doing that kind of stuff were also really good teachers?
Not everyone, no.
I bet you the majority of them were not.
Yeah, because I think they're more interested in the self-gratification, the self-satisfaction they got from that.
They
And
didn't
I
think about
totally
it.
understand
They
that, because
reflect.
that, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just what they did.
yeah,
A friend of mine is one of the greatest sales guys that I know of. He's an incredible guy. This guy just has ability to sell stuff and connect with people and just get him motivated and just he could not teach his way out of a wet paper bag in terms of teaching somebody else how to do what it is he does. No ability whatsoever at all. He could jump in and start once you started a conversation with somebody, he could come in and kind of coach you through it, but he could not sit down and actually teach you how to do it. Many salespeople really don't know how to teach other people how to sell. And I think that goes on and on and on and on. There are people that are good at something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at doing it or helping other people to learn how to do it. I'll give you an example. A client of mine, she is an incredible person, very smart, great with people. Her boss, her CEO, is a guy that's very smart. He's on the rational side of things. He's that guy that, is very thinking and da 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 da. Very good at that stuff. Whenever they go out, small team goes out to the different areas in the country, and they're meeting the vendors, they're meeting the clients, da 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 da. He's always blown away how they just love this woman. They just think she's the greatest thing in the world. They just put their arms around. Hey, it's so good to see you. Da 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 da. And he looks at her, and the rest of the team looks at that. What's going on? They go, what's going on? They don't understand. They have no capacity to understand what this woman's talent is and her ability to bring people together, to connect with people and create relationships. No ability whatsoever. He's just baffled. And yet he's leading the the company's leadership development.
yeah.
It's not that he's not smart. It's not that he doesn't understand a lot. He reads a lot. He just doesn't get it, how it's really, really, really done. And see, that's the trick here.
I think that absolutely is the trick. Now, how many, here's the interesting thing too, in the same survey, Michael, and kind of to your point, um, the vast majority of these CEOs did not feel that HR was up to the challenge ahead to develop talent. Only 34%. Now, and of 9% of that felt they did not have the ability to at all. So herein lies the issue. Why is it, Michael, that we see this time and time again? There is no real internal development of leadership.
I think one of the reasons is that there's several reasons we've talked about. One, I think they just don't know what they don't know. That's what that
Right.
was from. They
Right.
just don't know what they don't know, and they don't realize the value of not knowing what they don't know. They don't realize that there's value in knowing that. The other part of it is this. I think a lot of it is they don't want other people to know that they don't know. So they become very protective about what it is that they're letting in or who they're letting in, and so it becomes a very political sense of choice about who's going to support me, who's not, who's going to make me right. And see, that's some of the most interesting things, Rich. I'm going to give you this, and I'm telling you, it is the honest truth. It is the honest truth. Bringing in clients and working with them and developing their leadership skills, every one of them has this same moment in time, and that's this: I'm already so busy, I don't know where it is that I'm going to have time to do my coaching assignments and this and that and this and that. Now think about that for a moment, my friend. They don't know how to manage themselves.
Right. They
Now,
don't have a plan.
here's the problem. If they don't know how to manage themselves, why is that? Here's the answer. The answer is the way they've been taught about leadership is just go do what I tell you to do. They think that's what leadership is.
Right.
Leadership is completely, completely different. So the result of that is they've never really had good models, role models of how to do leadership. They don't get it because they keep waiting for somebody to go tell them what to do rather than them figuring out What is it that I've got here to do? And where am I going to put my time? What am I going to put in my schedule? How I'm going to do all these things? Until they get that moment of aha, they flounder. They just floundered because they don't know what to do because nobody's told them what to do.
Yeah.
And therein lies the whole difference. That's why leadership fails, corporations, because they're telling them what to do rather than showing them the tools of how leadership actually works and getting them to practice those skills as leaders.
And why the why they should be doing it.
Well, even before that, who are you as a leader? I mean, that's
Yes.
one of the big mysteries here. Who are you as a leader? Because if you go into this situation, let's just create something real simple here. Let's say that you are a person that, and that's what our assessments do. Our assessments start figuring out how do you actually work here, right? Let's say you're a person that is a thinking person, all right? You're a thinking person, and your coach is coming at you like, well, you know what? In order for you to change, you've got to get a better attitude. That cat's not going to get it at all. Because that cat's the thinking person. That guy's going to think about behavior. He's going to be asking you, how do you want me to behave? So what's the behavior I'm looking to do? Because those people work in teams. They work in groups. It's all about, how do we produce this? And so therefore, what is the behavior that get the results that we want? So to talk to them about attitude, you're just talking a foreign language to them. And so we've got to know, this is what we do the testing is, are you this emotional person? Are you an intellectual person? Are you a kind of a strong, dominating kind of person? Because based upon how you are, that's the way we're going to deal with you. Plus the fact that we're going to figure out what is your circuit that gets you kicked into it to your leadership power. Rich, you might as well go and talk to them in Chinese. And you don't Chinese, right?
Yeah.
Just walk through the door and start talking to them in Chinese. Talk to them in Chinese about how you're going to help them with their leadership development. They won't understand a word. They just won't understand it. Just like, what we're talking about here. Many of them just go and they just don't get it. But here's the deal. When you really get down to it, you got to ask this fine question again. Is your culture developing the kind of leaders that you want them to become? Are those leaders in turn leading the culture in such a way that the culture is able to produce the kind of people that you want working there and the kind of results, products, and services that you want? Now, if you're falling short of that, just bottom line production of products and services, if you're falling short there, there's a problem. If there's not an overall feeling about the people love to come to work and they enjoy working with each other, it's dynamic, it's innovative, that's another problem. If you look at the fruits, look at what it is that you're producing here. And if you're not getting those kind of outcomes, that goes right back to leadership, which goes back and also includes culture. And you have to throw up your hands and simply say, as smart as I am, as much as I know about this business and in this industry, in this area, even though I'm a hotshot skier, I don't know how to teach other people how to ski like me. Even though I'm a hotshot salesperson, I don't know how to train people to become a good salesperson like me. There's the skill of what it is they're doing, but getting people into that leadership is a completely different set of skills and talents.
Absolutely. I think if you look at this, kind of a lot what you're saying. My son, we talk a lot about my son. He's quite the baseball player. He's been he's committed to go on to college playing after high school. He had quite a few different colleges chasing him, but he settled on one. But here's the thing, he's a pitcher. Okay. Now, if I were to simply from afar watch how it's done and then pick up a book and read a book on how to do this, how to be a pitcher, and assume that since I've done this, I can walk out on that mound and be an effective pitcher.
Coach it.
Or coach it. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes people guiding you down the right path, teaching you how to do this. And a lot of that time, it's not the people. Matter of fact, there are some internal coaches that are very good, but for the most part, you're not going to get the type of internal coaching from an organization that you would from an organization that hires external coaching.
They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them.
No, absolutely not. So here's the thing is you need a coach. You need someone to help you develop those skills. Now, the people within your organization are going to be great mentors. They're going to teach you all about the products and the processes and everything in that organization. That's what mentors do. Coaches are different. Coaches are not mentors. It's not a long-term for years relationship. When we come into an organization, we assume that you already know how to do your job. We assume you already know your processes, that you know your customers, you know the products, or you understand manufacturing, you understand lean, and Six Sigma and all these things. That's not why we're coming in. The fact that you understand those things helps you manage a process, but it does not make you the leader. The leader is the soft skills, the empathy, the understanding how to develop those people coming behind you, understanding how to be vulnerable, to listening to those people around you, to be and to leave your legacy. How do you truly bring people up around you? Is it just simply telling them what to do? Or is it taking the time to, number one, find out who they are first? We talk about this. Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Got to understand where the starting point is. Got to understand what the perception of that individual is by his peer group. Then start developing those skills. But that's not going to happen if there's already preconceived biases or preconceived notions within an organization about the people they have. So therefore, we've got to go out there and try to find the talent that we want. The talent fit versus the talent add that's going to really help our company, when that's right there, it's right there in front of you. And if you don't take the time, and a lot of these companies, if you really look at the Great Resignation, it's not so much about wages. It's not so much about a toxic work environment, which it is. I mean, there's a lot of toxic work environments, but it's about that development.
You've said a couple of things that I think are really worth pointing out. And there's a difference between the ability to produce results,
yes,
and the ability to lead.
Yes.
So the ability to produce results, we might call those are the essential production skills. The essential production skills. You've got to know these skills in order to produce products and services. There is a difference, though, between the essential production skills, and the essential power skills. The essential power skills, and what comes to my mind is we're talking about soft skills. I don't think they're soft skills. I mean, that's a way to kind of soft skills when you talk about, well, that's just soft skills. It's kind of a nanny kind of talking down. We do the real stuff. We're the production people, and the soft skills. That's a misnomer. It's completely a mischaracterization, because it's those essential power skills of leadership that really make the difference in terms of their ability to influence and increase and grow the ability, those essential power or production skills.
Yeah.
Without the leadership, this is not going to grow. You got to have these essential power leader skills to grow that. Otherwise, they're going to just keep doing the same thing again and again and again and again till they're outdated. The other thing I think is really important here is understanding that as a leader, one of the things that you're going to be doing is this. You have got to put yourself in a frame of mind where you are ongoingly growing and learning. And that is the bottom line, because most people show up to work and they go home. So it is.
Yeah.
Leaders are coming from a whole different thing. They're looking at how to develop themselves, how to gain more knowledge, how to gain greater skills in leadership, how to motivate their team, how to inspire their team. They're always looking at it. That's what they are. They're always in that mode of growth and learning, personal development, professional development. That's a completely different way of doing it. So if you don't have that kind of there in your culture, It was like we go to work and then we come home. If you don't have that kind of dynamic, here's what you miss out on. People who go through our coaching, one of the things they start noticing is this, and you mentioned this earlier, this idea of a toxic environment, a toxic work culture.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it can be really toxic and it's horrible and it's ugly and it's terrible and it's very damaging. But there's another level of toxicity that is not as noticeable and yet can be very damaging in the sense of its ability to produce results, to serve the clients. And that is you will be working, there are these cultures where there are these choke points. Call them, working your own fiefdom. Call them, you're working in your own silo.
Yeah, you build in your own silo. Yep.
Right. And so in that organization, there may be several choke points or silos that people don't know how to get past. And as long as those silos are in place and those individuals in those silos, they are natural governors, stoppers, slower downs of the organization and its ability to grow and produce, develop talent because they're protecting themselves. So when you get somebody who's really trained, because if you just do that inside, what they're going to learn the culture of culture of the norm of the culture, that is, these choke points are just what they are. Just got to leave them alone and blah, 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 blah. Saw a great piece this morning by Carl Icahn talking about this very thing. Is an incredible thing. He bought a company, was trying to figure out what these people were doing in New York. There was like 12 stories of these people. And he went in there, what do you do here exactly? And there's another part in St. Louis, Missouri that had a company and they did a lot of the COO, actually getting the stuff done. And he went there, he kept visiting there. I said, I can't figure out what you guys do. What do you do? What do you do? He said, oh, well, these are really important things. What he's really looking at was a choke point. This is just a plain old choke point where people felt they are entitled to keep their jobs. And so they're covering each other's butts all over the place. He couldn't figure it out. So he went down to St. Louis and he was talking to the guy down there, the COO down there. He says, yeah, let me show you. This is kind of complicated. He said, no, I'm the smart guy. Tell me what it is. Just show me what it is. Well, it's kind of, no. They got along. They ended up getting along really well. He said, what would you do with those guys in New York? He said, you want to know what I do with you? You don't have, he didn't say it this way. I'll change it a little bit. You don't have the backbone to do what it is I'll tell you. He said, well, what is that? He said, I'd fire them. I'd get rid of all 12 floors. So Carl Icahn goes back to New York. He's still kind of figuring this out. He brings in a consulting team, pays them $250,000 to go and really study these guys here. There's 12 floors. They bring back a book this big and this huge book of all the data and and all that kind of stuff. And so he's going through and says, I'm not going to read this book. I'm a numbers guy, but I'm not going to read all this graphs and stuff. Bottom line, just tell me what it is. What are they doing there? And after $250,000, 3 weeks of work by these consultants, they said, well, we'll tell you straight. You're a good guy and we like you. We don't know what they're doing. We can't figure it out.
Well, that's, yeah.
Carl did it. He fired them. And here's the kicker about it. He fired all these people on these 12 floors. He said, I didn't get one complaint from one customer, from anybody, anywhere, that we started missing something. They were never needed. They were never, ever needed. But sometimes you need somebody coming in from the outside to help you work through these choke points and how to negotiate in new ways to get stuff done, to accelerate and improve the process. It can't be done inside the culture, because the culture with its choke points and toxicity, that's the norm.
That's the norm. That's the way we've always done it.
Yes, that's the way she works. You gotta go, no, that's not real. That's not the way it is. That's not the way it works.
Well, yeah,
so that's why executive coaching, executive leadership development from the outside is critical, because we can see things that you can't, and we can work with your people in ways to get those things, get past the stuff, the blockers, the stoppers.
Not only that, those hard conversations are not going to be difficult to have when you're concerned about who you're going to offend. And that's not the point. We're not there to offend anybody, but inevitably somebody is not going to like what you have to say. But
going to get their nose out of joint.
Yeah, and they do. Those hard conversations are needed.
All right.
And that's where becoming vulnerable and humble and understanding that, we don't have all the answers.
Transparent.
Yeah.
Like Casper.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Rich, let's wind it up.
Well, Michael, I got to tell you, this has been a very interesting topic today. John Mattone, who we've worked with and has been on our show, was on a show earlier this morning, one of those Good Morning type America, wasn't that, but those type of shows.
Yeah.
In the morning, and talked about toxic work cultures and the inability for these cultures to truly engage their people. And that's what we're talking about. Take this leadership development for yourself seriously. If the people in your organization are not going to do this for you, come see us. We'll help you. Because in the end, when you find out that the culture you're in is toxic and you need that development and you have those skills going forward, you're going to be even more valuable to the next organization or to the one you are with now. And I hope that people understand, these organizations understand the 61% of the CEOs that we're talking to out there that haven't taken that first step and want to understand why people are leaving. Well, do something. Take that first step. Engage your people.
May not be your bad breath or your rumpled brown suit. It may be something more.
Or those Tesla chargers by the front door. Okay, just
joking here.
Yeah, even though I like Teslas, I really do, but that's not the point. Anyway, Executive Leaders Act, ILEC.com. Come talk to us. Send us a message. And we've got some things online that will help you understand where you sit currently with your leadership ability. And let's talk. Let's see where we can get you to that next step. Once again, Michael, who we shouting out to tonight?
Yeah, there's some folks that are watching us from I don't know where this is. Bromley, Pengi, or Pengi Bromley. Do you know what that is? Is that in India or somewhere?
I don't.
I don't know where that is, or is it maybe it's in Asia? Maybe it's in Asia. I've never seen this Bromley. It's Pengi Bromley.
I'll tell you what. If you're listening out there, get on our website and tell us how to pronounce this correctly. Then where you're from.
Yeah, this is embarrassing for us. I mean, we're pretty willing to be embarrassed, but
we've got some recent listeners too in Bucharest.
Oh, this is England. It's in England, actually.
Yeah.
Southeast London.
Oh, awesome.
Had no idea. Pengi, maybe Pengi. All right, there you go. Shout out.
Okay.
Shout out to you folks.
Yes. Well, so once again, we are at the end of another episode of Mainline Executive Coaching. And take care of each other out there.
All right, all the best to you folks.
We'll see you again soon.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.